pleasure here to guide you guys through the assembly of the Xperia Z1s for T-Mobile. This device is a 5-inch display device with a tri-luminous display, and I have my own unit here. So this is what we're going to disassemble, right? The 5-inch display itself. On the sides here you'll see we have camera button, volume keys, power keys. Underneath there we're going to do the SIM card. We have a SD card right there, the USB port, and then the the magnetic charging dock right there. It has the 20.7 megapixel camera here with the G lens and the Bion's processing power. So that's the outer parts of it, and we can start taking a look. And I forgot to mention, it has running the Snapdragon 800 processor, quad processor, 2.2 gigahertz. About it. Right here you'll see the adhesive, and that's really the only thing that keeps the units together. Here's the screws, and those are really the only screws that you'll find on the device here, and there's 8 of them. We got the battery, a very large 3000 milliamps battery. This one, together with the power stamina software we've got running, is going to ensure that you have the maximum amount of hours available for the device itself. Take a look at this here. This is really the magnetic charging flex film, and it's going to connect out here to those 2 ports, and then it's going to go on to the main board right there, and it's going to be held together with this little clamp right there. What you see over here is the main antenna. It's going to run with a coax cable down here, and this is the actual antenna out here. Here's the antenna matching components, and we'll run the coax cable back here to the main board. This is the speaker box assembly. So this is your loudspeaker down here. This is the vibrator, pancake vibrator. This is the actual shield can that's going to go over the flex film down here for the main display, and this is the main display flex film. And this thing that you see here, that's the touch controller. This touch controller attaches to the board-to-board connector right here. And then to make sure that, since there's so much signal that's going through this whole flex film here, we make sure that we control any signals that's going to run astray underneath the shield can. Any questions so far? No? Looks good?
Yeah, you look like you have a question.
Yeah. Huh? Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, so the next flex phone we got here, it's going to run for your side buttons. So it's going to be your power key, your volume key, and your camera key right here. So over here on this side, that's the volume keys, and then your power key right there. And if you guys see on the other side here, let me show you that. Right down there, that's the E-compass. Right there, you got the actual camera key. There's some adhesive there. And this is going to be your speaker assembly. And you'll see that it's actually going to attach here on the 2 pads right there. And this is your microphone. Moving up here to the main board, what you see that I've done here is that I've removed these shield cans off the main board here. And it's a 2-layered main board. Normally what we do is it comes in, the boards come in a pack of 4. So the actual assembly itself is going to consist of 4 boards, and it's going to be A side, B side, A side, B side. And that's just because the way that you place the SMA components, you place one side first, you place all those components, and then you put them in an oven, a reflow oven, to reflow all the components, make sure that they adhere back to the board itself. Then you turn it around and you put it in again, and then you run through it again. So normally what you'll see when you're talking about main boards is that you try and keep the balance between A side and B side with the components, because if you make one side too heavy, then of course that's going to be problematic once you're doing your reflows. So here's the main board. Let's see if we can talk about this one for a while here. This is actually the side that's going to face this way. So right now it's oriented absolutely correctly the way it's going to go into the device itself. Over here you see the shield cans. These have been torn off, or I've removed them. They go on top of here to make sure that any radio transmission is not going to get outside of its intended area. Right here is where you got the 32 gigabyte onboard memory, and this whole section here is all the RF components. So the GSM quad band, the HSDPA, and the LTE band and components are all situated right here. This board-to-board connector here is for the main camera. This is for this flex film right there, the side buttons and the microphone. This board-to-board connector here is going to go right into the display assembly, and this board-to-board connector here is going to go to the actual magnetic charging. If you guys can see here, that little thing right there, that's actually where we're going to connect the coax cable right there. It's going to go down to the main antenna. Right there. You're also going to see some of these components here. These are actually test boards for us that allows us to do conducted, where you actually do measurements on the components themselves with a probe that you actually put directly on the board itself. So you don't have to, of course we test all the antennas as well, but to make sure that all the actual components are working, we go in and we do testing on every single board to make sure that the components are all functioning the way that they're supposed to. Right here you have the secondary microphone on the back of the device. You'll see a little hole right here. And that's actually for the secondary microphone, and that's this guy right there. And it's going to do the noise cancellation, background cancellation for when you're on the phone. So let's turn it around here. Okay, so this is the front-facing side now. Here's the SIM card holder. Here's the actual main processor. So this is the Snapdragon 800. It's got a POP memory, meaning that the memory itself is actually mounted on top of the processor itself. And it's got the 2 gigabyte of RAM for the device itself. And the gray goo that you see here is actually, and most of you guys that work with PC would recognize this as the thermal paste to actually do heat dissipation from the processor itself that we lead down here. And you see this blue part here, it's also for heat transfer from the processor itself. And then you have the power management unit here. So those are the two components that are going to run the hottest. So we treat them with the thermal paste, and then you'll see here this shield can. It's actually interesting, I think at least. Not everyone would agree with me, but that the components here, since you have the POP memory, which is situated, so it's actually two components. Extremely delicate when you're doing your SMA to actually get that right. But that's why you got the raised shield can here, to make sure that you get that one and actually connect here with the thermal pad here to do that heat dissipation. Right here is where you have the NFC components. So back here you got the NFC antenna, and we'll talk about the antenna itself, but the components for the NFC is situated right here. And here's where you have your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi components underneath there. And I haven't removed the shield cans for those. The SD card holder sits right here, and here's the shack camera. Now the reason I haven't removed the shack camera here is that it's actually mounted onto the board itself. And then you'd ask yourself, of course, well, how could we mount this on the board itself with a flex film if we're doing reflow? Or at least I would ask myself that. So really we can't. And that's why this is actually mounted after you've done the SMA of the board itself. And that's why you'll find this flex foam here is that this is assembled after the whole board is completed. You assemble it and you actually hand solder it onto the board itself. And that's just to make sure it doesn't come loose, of course, when the device is being used. Let's move over here. Am I doing good on time? This is the audio jack. And as you noticed on the device itself, we're saying that the device is completely waterproof. So this port is actually being open here. Let me show you guys that. So I'll turn it around in a second here. But here's the board-to-board connector that's going to go onto the main board on the other side. But right here is some components that's going to appear here, and that's the infrared sensor. So the proximity sensor, it's actually what you're looking at here. So one of these diodes here is actually going to send out the infrared light, and then the other one is actually going to read it. So you know how you answer your call and it displays on and you put it onto your ear? It's the proximity sensor that detects the actual, and you can see that on the device itself when you're here. You can play with it, right? When you're on the call, you see it up here, and it's going to be right next to right next to the Sony logo right there. You can play with it and you just move your finger back and forth over it. So let's turn this around here. Oh, sorry, and I forgot to mention this guy here. That's your charging LED. So that's the little light when you're charging it that turns green, red, most of the time green.
White, right?
No, white's for
red.
Notifications. Yeah, yeah. Red, green, and white, I think. Yeah, I think you're right.
Of doing
yeah,
it.
yep. Turn it around here. Okay, so now you see the actual housing here that makes it waterproof. So this whole piece here is glued together to the frame itself here, and that white part here is actually what makes it, the whole housing, waterproof. Those underneath those two leads right there.
You said that's the flex film, you said?
That's a flex film, yeah, FPC.
Okay.
Flexible printed circuit. And this one's going to sit and secure. And the coax cable is actually going to run in here as well. So we've got the magnetic charging done. We'll put in the microphone, right? Microphone and the loudspeaker and the side buttons. That's the touch controller that I just attached to the flex film for the main display, and it's secured by a piece of tape here. And this gasket you'll see when we put on the shield can here is going to make sure that that one stays seated, because of course if that one comes loose, none of your touch control is going to work. tell I didn't get it seated correctly here. You can tell by these two holes here and the black dots underneath. It needs to align to those dots right there. And got guiding features here as well, to make sure that you see them properly. And of course I can test the button to make sure that I got it correctly. To the flex film, so let's do the main antenna. And you see the components here are going to go here. I'm going to put it in to make sure that they're attaching to the board. And then you'll see here a couple of snaps that the board actually snaps into, and the little guiding pin here to make sure I got it seated correctly. Got the main antenna seated. These are grounding points to make sure that we don't have any interference on the coax cable. There's a lot of data going through this cable here. Make sure it's shielded and properly grounded. I'll go ahead and I'll put on the actual loudspeaker assembly. And here's where the acoustic guys are really thrilled about the amount of volume that they get out of this speaker box here, to make sure that they can get the loudest sound out of that speaker as possible. Oops, sorry. See? Oh, that would not have been good. So I'll do the shield can to make sure that we don't have any emission, RF emission outside of the as you can tell here, the vibrator itself goes through and attaches right there. Make sure it's seated correctly. I put the tape over it. And we're good to go. This one seats back right in there. Okay, so next up, we'll put in the ear speaker. I want to make sure I don't get stuck to the adhesive here in front. Right there. And then we have our sub-assembly here, the audio jack, the charging LED, and the proximity sensor. Just slide it in. Seat this back in here. Okay, so far so good. We'll go ahead and take the main board. I'll put the shield cans back together here. cover up the main processor. That one's ready. I'll take the main camera with the housing or gasket. I'll slide it in place right here. Okay, not too many components to go. So this is delicate here to make sure you don't damage any of the board-to-board connectors. I'm going to slide this piece here in this side first, the USB connection side. Oh, like that? Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. It's cool. You good? Almost there. You guys should be glad I'm not assembling every unit, right? It'd be like 3 people could get in a year.
Bring up the price point.
Yeah. Okay, we got it all, right? Looks good. Now it's gonna snap in here. You could hear that? That's the board snapping in. Now I just need to make sure that I seat all the connectors correctly. That of course being the magnetic charging, the display itself, the side keys. After we've sealed up the secondary microphone. Yep. Slide in the diversity antenna, NFC antenna, and Bluetooth and wireless LAN. That's it. Screw it together. Oh. Maybe we need this. Thought there was something missing, right? You guys could have said something.
Well, while you're at it, what about that one over there?
Yeah. That one, we can slide it in that one in afterwards. Yeah, yeah. But thanks, though. Yeah. It's gonna work much better now.
I actually like the idea of made to order Xperia Z1s.
That foam box idea, you know, perfect aura. Sure. Yeah. Compartmentalized sort of.
My disassembled symbol.
I think you bring your shoulder back just a little. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I'm doing like a time lapse of you here.
Oh.
I want to make sure I get every step so I can do this at home later.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We never recommend that though, but sure.
I got a palm 8,000 mAh battery on it.
Someone's looking, what do you
this tough part.
Give this one a bit of a lucky contestant.
So the issue now is that, of course, since I've removed everything and I'm reusing the components here, not adding any additional adhesive to it, it's not going to be waterproof anymore. Not right now. Not the way I approach this.
What would you have to do in order to make it waterproof again?
So all I needed to do was to, you know, replace some of the gaskets, and then, yeah, what we do with every single unit is to make sure that they're waterproof. Is that we suck the vacuum out of the, yes, and then then we measure. We have a little barometer sitting on it, making sure that it's not leaking.
Question is, will it turn on?
Will it wet?
Dun 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 dun.
Bravo, man.
All right, now open up Angry Birds.
How many times have you done this before?
And there we have it. This is the assembly of the Xperia Z1s.
Yeah.
Every single phone in circulation.
Are you involved in the design of any of these devices at all? Or?
Yes, we're taking part of, you know, from cradle to grave, pretty much.
Cradle to grave.